gone live on YouTube in this way before, but I'm excited to try it out today. I'm going to talk a little bit about love and relationships with both, someone you love or just a friend. I think that it is really, really important to know that everybody's different in the way that they experience and express love. And so I kind of want to just get into that today. If you want to hang out with me in the conversation around love and relationships, stick around. It is bright and early in the middle of the morning. And I was studying this morning, and I've had some thoughts and some ideas that I thought might be able to just help somebody else. Do you know what I mean? I know I'm not the only person who thinks about these things. And so a lot of times when I'm having a strange time sort of, coming to a resolve about something, I search the Bible and see what it says. And so that's what I did today. But here's the situation. If kissing somebody arouses you, right? It awakens you. Then that's a truth that's your own. That's an authentic part of your being, your experience. That's a part of who you are. If kissing you does not awaken you, it's just the feeling of your lips on somebody else's that kind of just, doesn't really feel intimate in that way, then that's a part of your truth. That's a part of who you are. You can't apologize for that. That's just a part of your authenticity. Good morning, Miss Glitz Pleasures. If laying your head on somebody's shoulder is comfortable for you, it relaxes you, it warms your soul, that's a part of your truth. That's a part of your authenticity. That's a part of what makes you you. If laying your head on somebody's shoulder awakens you, arouses you, that's a part of who you are. That's a part of your authenticity. I've been talking a lot on my Instagram about love and about sex and about as somebody just said, hey, Satara, love the talk you and your moms just had about and how authentic it was. I understand what you're trying to say. But I've been talking about love and sex and relationships and, how we kind of point the finger at people for being a certain kind of way in relationships. Good morning, Mr. B. And I think that there's been a lot of hurt and a lot of confusion and a lot of condemnation, if you will, around how different people express themselves, how different people communicate love, and whether or not how they express themselves or communicate this love is good or bad. And so my mother and I were live on my Instagram, and later on I'll put my Instagram in the, whatever that thing is down there, so you guys can go and check it out. But my mother and I were talking, and she surprised me with some of her thoughts around how she came into relationship with my father, how they expressed themselves romantically. And I've been getting phone calls, emails, text messages, DMs. And one of the topics that I'm hearing is, what's the difference between intimacy and romance? Are they one and the same? Or are they separate? And does one have to mean that the other one happens? In my experience, personally, the idea of romance has roses, it has flowers, it has sometimes Parisian themes, sometimes it has dancing, sometimes it has lace and frilly things. It's a heightened state of corny joy, right? It's corny, it's silly, it's got butterflies. That's my experience of what romance is. There's often some holding hands, but there doesn't have to be. There might be a good meal. The atmosphere is right and the colors are right. That's romance to me. And romance can mean something else to somebody else, but for me, romance, good morning, Ghost Warrior. For me, romance is atmospheric, and that atmosphere creates a euphoric kind of an experience, right? Intimacy, to me, in my experience, has to do with two individuals coming together in some sort of a way. There's a sort of the beginnings of touching and intimacy. There's the beginnings of feeling and intimacy. There's the beginnings of embrace and intimacy. I don't feel like romance and intimacy are one in the same. Oftentimes, romance leads to intimacy. But if intimacy is the beginning, then oftentimes romance doesn't become from intimacy, right? So I see somebody saying, I agree, and I see a lot of things about the flesh, but as it pertains to this innocent beginning of relationship where what we tend to condemn people for is not involved, I think that the beginnings of intimacy start after romance. Those are my thoughts. For me, if romance for you is touching, if romance for you is holding, if romance for you is embracing, if romance for you is feeling, then that's romance for you, right? The question I'm asking, I haven't asked yet, but the question that I'm asking is, who decides what's romantic for somebody? Who decides? Who decides what romance is for another person? Does romance include intimacy? And if it does, who decides whether or not that person is, and then this is the last part, a good person or a bad person? Right? I'm not talking about sex. I just want to be super clear. I'm talking about the beginnings of intimacy. So I'm a very cerebral person, and so for me to want to be moving in towards the direction of intimacy, I've got to talk to you. I've got to know your thoughts. I've got to know your ideas. I've got to know your convictions. I've got to know what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what triggers you. I need to know what you think about the world. That triggers intimacy. Romance for me, again, is an atmosphere. It's an environment. It's a state of euphoria. It's a place that we create for somebody to exist in a euphoric state or a corny, joyous state. I think that in the beginning of a relationship, a friendship, and any ship, these particular items have to be communicated. Otherwise, somebody might feel forced or pressured into intimacy when they're still trying to experience the romance. I think a lot of times that when somebody is very comfortable in the intimacy space early on in the relationship, we judge them. I find myself judging those kinds of people. I just met you on Thursday. It's only Wednesday. Why do you think it's okay to kiss me? You're so this. I just met you in March. It's only April. Why do you think it's okay to hold me? You're such a this. Good morning, Chantel. How are you? Good to see you. And I find myself getting upset with people who are so quick to move into the intimate space because I'm not finished being cerebral yet. I'm not finished learning you yet. I'm not finished knowing you yet. Chances are I might never even become interested in knowing you in that way, because what I'm experiencing is a romantic relationship, not an intimate one. I can have romance with my best friend. We can go to Amsterdam and hang out in the tulip garden and pick roses and flowers and play with butterflies all day and have a romantic day. That to me is romance. That relationship will never become intimate. So how do we communicate to people who are experiencing us in a romantic way that we're not interested in intimacy without appearing like a prude or like appearing judgmental? How do we communicate that? And if we communicate that, why does the one who's comfortable in the intimate space feel so judged? Just because I'm Christian doesn't mean I'm judging you. Just because I'm Christian doesn't mean I'm not intimate with you because I'm Christian. I'm just having a romantic time. When is romance leading somebody on? When is romance signaling intimacy? I'm not talking about sex. When does romance signal intimacy? And if romance doesn't signal intimacy for me, and romance signals intimacy for you, is somebody a good person and somebody a bad person, or are we just different? There's a passage in Romans, the book of Romans, chapter 14 and verse 15, and it says this. It says, "For if your brother or sister is hurt by what you eat, you're no longer walking according to love." If your brother or sister is hurt by what you eat, you're not walking according to love. It's a hard pill to swallow. A lot of times, because we don't feel like our brother or sister, if we don't act like our brother and sister, if we don't have the same leanings as our brother and sister, we point our finger at our brother and sister. Again, I'm not talking about sex. And our brother and our sister feel judged just because we don't like to do what they do. Not because we feel like we're in sin for doing what they do. Not because we feel like we're doomed to hell for doing what they do, but because we don't want to do what they want to do. They feel judged. And so here it's telling us, Romans 14 and 15 says, if your brother or sister is hurt by what you eat, you're no longer walking according to love. Do not destroy somebody by what you eat. For the kingdom of God is not eating or drinking, but righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Spirit. In other words, if I don't eat like you, if I don't drink like you, if I don't experience romance like you, if I don't feel led towards intimacy like you, and you do, if I don't communicate or you don't communicate how it makes you feel, what it is that you actually want, then there's a possibility or a chance that one of us is going to feel judged or like the finger is being pointed at them. One of us is going to feel hurt because we're not walking in honest communication. So if you don't tell me that kissing makes you feel uncomfortable and I kiss you, I'm not a bad person. You just didn't tell me kissing made you uncomfortable. And so now you're hurt because you didn't communicate. I'm hurt because I feel like I offended you. But if we open up our mouths and say in the beginnings of a relationship, this makes me comfortable, this makes me uncomfortable, and we don't judge each other because of what makes each other comfortable and uncomfortable, then we ourselves can make choices as to what we're going to do or what we're going to be to that other person, and if we're comfortable being and or doing that. This is just relationships. This doesn't have to be the person you marry. This is just your sister or your brother. I've got some friends who are vegan, and the sight of cooked chicken just makes them, just devastates them. I won't eat chicken around them. That doesn't make them a good or bad person. That doesn't make me a good or a bad person. That just makes me know my friend and care enough not to make her uncomfortable. Good morning, Nicole. January Owens. I love that name, right? So that's one of the thoughts that I had about intimacy and and romance, because a lot of the conversation around intimacy and romance gets judgy. It gets, you're good, you're bad, you're right, you're wrong. I just want to hold your hand. I didn't have any other huge intentions yet. I just met you yesterday. I'm not a prude. I don't think you're a bad person for wanting to kiss me. I just want to stay at the hand holding part. Can we stay there for a sec? Nobody's good, nobody's bad here. A lot of times when we bring tradition into conversations and man-made religion into conversations, people begin to feel judged, ostracized, and then put out. And so the conversation and the communication ends. No one understands anybody, and everybody feels alone. The reason why I started the sistership, the reason why I started the Inner Peace Academy, the reason why I travel and love on people the way that I do is because I think that relationship is important. I think that human interaction is important. I think that getting to know people is important. And I think that conversation is key. And it seems like over the season of quarantine, over the season of being able to just go live on Instagram, this is my first YouTube live, but being able to go live on Instagram, I've found that a lot of people are either not talking or don't have anybody to talk to about what they really think and feel. And the conversations that I've been honored to share with a lot of you guys have been freeing for a lot of people. I'm not always talking about my own life in every conversation. Sometimes I'm talking about what I'm seeing. Sometimes I'm talking about what I'm hoping can be healed in somebody. Sometimes I'm just hoping that the words that come out of the conversation just warm somebody up because they've been isolated, because they've been ostracized, because they've been cast out, because they're not just like the person sitting next to them. There's this second passage in the Bible that really, man, it's I was reading it this morning. I think I may have read it for the first time today. I don't think that I've read this before. And I called my auntie, who, if you guys follow me on IG, then you know my aunties are one of the people that oh, Miss Glitz Pleasure says you and Eva Marcel favor each other. I was at a Starbucks some years back in my hometown, and my hair was like this, but like more blonde. And the lady at the drive-thru said that I used to get that all the time, depending on, the color of my hair, that me and her favor each other. So you never have to apologize for saying that. I get it a lot. One second. But so I was in the Bible earlier this morning, and I came across a passage that I wanted to share. I'm not going to say what I think it means. I'm just going to share it, and maybe share what I think it's saying. But I'm not going to read too in depth. I'm going to let you have that for yourself. So this is Colossians. It's Colossians chapter 2, verse 16. Don't let anybody judge you in regards to food or drink, or in the matter of a festival or a new moon or a Sabbath day. These are a shadow of what is to come. The substance is Christ. Let no man condemn you by delighting in ascetic practices and worship of angels, claiming access to a visionary realm. So those people who walk up to you and say, I see this when I look at you. I think you're this. I don't talk to you because I knew you were I knew I wasn't going to like you when I seen you because you was I perceive you to be. People who walk up to you and just decide everything about you without knowing anything about you, and you feel bad. Don't let them do that. Such people are inflated by empty notions of their unspiritual mind. I won't go into detail, but that's Colossians chapter 2, verses 16, 17, and 18. all this judgment stuff based on an Instagram photo is getting out of hand, if you ask me. And it's a lot of people taking a lot of audacity in deciding who you are based on which eyebrow, palette you're using. There's a lot of people deciding who you are based on what kind of car you drive. God forbid you have a Ferrari, you're probably God forbid you eat out every day for breakfast at a really fancy restaurant. You're probably oh no, you have a mansion, you're probably in the Colossians chapter 2, verses 16, 17, and 18. And then it goes on in verse 20 to say this, and this is the part that really gets to me, and then I'm gonna go. But I read this morning, I said I got to share this with somebody. Colossians chapter 2, verse 20 says, if you died with Christ to the elements of this world, so if your sins have already been forgiven, why do you live as if you still belong to this world? Why do you live as if sin is still in power over you? Why do you still live like sin should be the main thing that scares you every day when you wake up in the morning? Oh gosh, let me not, do this, otherwise I'm gonna be in sin. Oh gosh, let me not do this, otherwise I'm gonna be in sin. Why are you so afraid of sinning? I didn't make that up. That's what I'm reading. It goes on to say, why do you submit to regulations? Why do you submit to all these rules and regulations? Don't handle, don't taste, don't touch. The conversation is, what is romance? Does romance verse intimacy? And why? Who said? All these regulations refer to what is destined to perish by being used up. They are human commands and doctrines. This is Colossians chapter 2, verse 23. I did not make this up. Although these have a reputation for wisdom, by promoting self-made religion, false humility, and severe treatment of the body, they are not of any value in curbing self-indulgence. All these don't curb self-indulgence. What curbs self-indulgence? Romans, right where we were a minute ago, chapter 15, verse 1. I didn't mean to take it there, but I read that this morning. I said, wow, you gotta be kidding me. That's in the Bible? Wow. Romans chapter 14, verse 19 says this. So then, let us pursue what promotes peace and what builds up one another. Let us pursue what promotes peace and builds up one another. So if you need intimacy to feel secure in a relationship, again, I'm not talking about sex. And if I was, then let's talk about it. If you need intimacy to feel secure in a relationship, you need to hold a hand, you need a hug. There's nothing crazy about me giving that to you. That does not make me a good or a bad person. It just makes me willing to serve you in that way. If hugging you is out of my comfort zone and I don't think I can handle doing that, it doesn't make me a prude to say so. Doesn't make you a bad person for needing it. Romans chapter 14, verse 22 says, whatever you believe about these things, keep between yourself and God. Blessed is the one who does not condemn himself by what he approves. Pointing the finger condemns you. We finish with Romans chapter 15, verse 1. Joliet says, I try and read as many of these as I can. Joliet says, Chrisette, I'm excited for Wednesday. Woke up watching your live performances this morning. I hope you're having a blessed day. Thank you. That means so much to me. For those of you who are wondering, Joliet is part of the sistership. You can go to the sistership.org. That's the sistership.org and sign up for the sistership. We talk like this on Wednesday nights. I decided to bring it to YouTube because I know that there are more than just sisters who want to hear this. But Romans chapter 15, and I'll close. Verse 1 says, now we who are strong, this is gonna hurt, but I couldn't not say this part. This is going to be uncomfortable. Gird your loins. Now we who are strong have an obligation to bear the weakness of those without strength. Oh, you this, you that, you. If you can see all of this stuff with your finger, then help. If you can see all this stuff with your finger, then help. You think I'm this? Well, help me. You think she's that? Well, help her. It's your obligation. Is it really wrong now? Does it really concern you now when you have to help? Is it still your concern when you have to help? When you have to be of assistance? Now we who are strong have an obligation to bear the weakness of those without strength and not to please ourselves. It's very pleasing to point your finger at people and tell them what they're doing wrong. It feels great. Oh yeah, because you probably shouldn't be eating Cheetos because did you make her carrot sticks and celery sticks and ranch? Did you bring that to her house? Your lipstick is a little bit. Did you go and pick her up new lipstick liner? Your breath stink. Do you got a Tic Tac? Good morning, Aura. Good to see you. I'm like you, just different, says label. So many are quick to label humans like we're objects. Point a finger. Wow. You guys are preaching to me. And be ready for the ramifications of the ones pointing back at you. Philly said we need new music. I got you. I'm in the studio. I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited about the new music. Kalia says, often we get jumbled into one because we don't define them separately. We don't even know how to relay this to our partners because we don't even know the difference. And we got to do self-work, right? We got to stop and do some self-work so that we can kind of get to know what it is that we want, need, desire, find words for it so we can communicate it. We want to jump into a relationship. We don't even know what we like. I don't know if I want you to do that. We'll find out. So each one of us, Romans chapter 15, verse 2, is to please his neighbor for his good, to build him up. And in my opinion, that's the bottom line. To love our neighbors as we love ourselves. To please our neighbor by building him up. The goal in any relationship, love relationship, mother-daughter relationship, sister-sister relationship, sistership relationship. The goal is to build each other up. We want to be upset because of the way this person does this and the way this person does that. When the whole point is not how do they do what they do, but how can I build them? Matter of fact, how do they do what they do? If I understand, it will help me to build them. It'll help me to build them. So what's the opposite of being judgmental? Learning. What's the opposite of pointing the finger? Listening. Listening enough until you can find where you fit. That's how your gift actually literally makes room for you. I'm listening. I'm listening. What? Oh, I can help right there. I have patience. I'm listening. I'm learning. I'm learning. What? Oh, I can help right there. I have peace. What'd you say now? What? For real? Oh, I can help right there. I have kindness. I may not do all of the other stuff that you're talking about. I'm not comfortable there. But I can help in the kindness spot. I got your back right there. We trying to find all the places where we can't be of assistance. Oh, she do that, so I can't. He do that, so I definitely can't. Tell the truth. Say what you can't do, right? Don't be what you can't be. It's not my skill. That's not my talent. It's out of my comfort zone. That's just self-awareness. That's just honoring yourself. That's being nice to yourself. And then if there's something that you can do, do that. And then if you it's like, you know what? Okay, I'm finished here. One man plants, another man waters. One man might be gentle, the next man might be kind, and one after that might be patient. This person is getting all of this stuff from 5, 6, and 7 different people. You might not be their end all be all. They might have another stop till they get to their destination. You might not be the last stop. I think all of this really stems from us all wanting to help. I don't think it comes from a bad place. I think people judge because people want to fix stuff. People want to see perfection. People want to see good things. And so they judge, and then they wonder if they're enough to help. And so they stay in the judgment space because they're too insecure to be of assistance. But really they want to be. So if I had a word of encouragement for you guys today, it would be, you're enough to love somebody. You're enough to help somebody. You're enough to be self-aware and honest about what your comfort zone is, and then decide how you can contribute in other people's life. I could just be afraid to talk like this because I'm just an R&B singer. But I got tired of myself being judgmental about, well, why aren't people talking about this? Well, you pointing the finger, Chrisette, you talk about it. You could talk. You come from a family of talkers, preachers, evangelists. Why you can't say nothing? And so if I'm supposed to come out with an album, I'll come out with an album. But if there's more to me than that, and there's a place in the world, in the earth, that I feel like needs something else, who am I not to be of assistance to the 6 people who need me, to the 2 people who need me? What makes me so special that I can just point and not become available? So I'm gonna leave with this. The last thing I'm gonna say is, is that when you turn your life towards the light and your heart becomes regenerated, a life full of rules and regulations and condemnation and guilt and shame is over. Your life then becomes one where the rules and the laws and the regulations are personal and specific to your life. They become written on your heart. They become the words and the navigation for your life. So you don't have to operate in shame and guilt and judgment. You can operate in love and personal conviction. And then begin to really and truly enjoy the relationship with yourself and God, and then self and people. It's a good place to be. You won't feel so guarded. I know what that's like. All right, I love you guys so much. If you want to hang out with me on Wednesday night, I will be hanging out in the sistership. That's the sistership.org. If you want to hang out with me one-on-one, come and rock with me at innerpeace.academy. That's INNERPEACE.academy. And then the sistership, sistership.org. The sistership.org. It's free to join. Come hang with us Saturday night. Love you guys so much. I'll do my best to read as many comments as I can because there were a lot, and I tried to stop and read some, but yeah, I know my ADD be acting up. All right, till next time. If there is a next time, it's my first time, so we'll see. Peace.